To do the labs in this class, you will need to have NetBeans and MySQL. MySQL, you will not need that until week 6. NetBeans, you need it here in week 1. NetBeans will be used for every single application. So it's important to go ahead and use NetBeans and have access to it. The couple different ways that you can do it is to access the software using Azure Labs. And Azure Labs is already set up completely with everything installed that you will need. And to find out how to use that, you can come up here and then click on how to access Azure Labs. And that's a very quick guide for you. Or you also have the option of clicking on this video and following along with this video here. All right, now here in week 1, I do recommend that you go ahead and look at the MySQL tutorial. We will not actually use that until week 6. At the same time, it's good to go ahead and plant the seed and maybe start taking a look at it so that when we hit week 6, you'll be very comfortable with the MySQL database software. All right, so your other option, if you do not want to use Azure Labs, is to install the software on your computer. So if you have a Windows computer, you can install the software on your Windows computer. If you have a Mac, you can also install the software on your Macintosh. The instructions will be slightly different and you may need to do a little bit of research. But it can be installed on a Mac, no problem at all. All right. So if you do have a Mac though, and you do not want to do the research to see how to install it, then please go ahead and just use Azure Labs. It's not a problem. All right. So if you do have a Windows computer and you want to follow along with me, then let's go ahead and take these steps to install the software on your computer. So the steps are, the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need to have Java JDK installed. So that's the first step. So we need to have the Java JDK installed. The second is we need to install NetBeans. And then the third step is to install the MySQL database server. So let's do this one step at a time. The first step is going to be install Java JDK. To install Java JDK, we need to make sure that you uninstall any versions of Java that are currently on your computer. Because if you have an old version, it may conflict with the current version. So to come down here to your section down here and simply type control, and then you'll see control panel come up. If it doesn't come up, then go ahead and just type it all the way out, control panel. So you want to open up your control panel. So once it highlights, hit your enter key, and then the control panel opens. Find uninstall a program, and then click on uninstall a program. Then on the programs that are installed on your computer, just scroll down to the J's and then make sure that you don't have Java installed. And you can see here on my computer I do have the Java installed. If you see anything that starts with the word Java, then you need to go ahead and uninstall it. So every single version of Java that you have installed, highlight it and then hit uninstall. And then hit yes, and then just follow the screen prompt. You'll get a screen popping open saying this requires administrator rights. Go ahead and hit yes and give it permission to uninstall it. Then make sure that you're looking at the J's and make sure that nothing is on there that starts with Java. All right, so all your Javas need to be out. All right, once all the Javas are out, then you want to go to the download page to install Java. And the download page is this one right here. So I'm going to highlight this address right here. You can find this download page very, very easily by Googling. So if you just go to Google, and in fact, let me just show you very quickly. You just go to Google and then just type JDK, like that. Hit your enter key, and you can see that the Java downloads page comes up. All right, so I'm going to click on that. And this right here should be the exact same link that I have here, and it is. So you can see it was very, very quick and easy to get this JDK. So with the JDK on this page, you want to come over here to where it says Oracle JDK, and right there is a JDK download. All right, so you can click on JDK download, and then It talks about the license agreement, and the license agreement says that if you are doing this as an academic environment, then you can go ahead and just use it, no problem at all. If you are using this for producing software that you want to sell, then you need to pay a licensing fee, or you can use the other version, which is the open source version. And if I hit back and then I go down a little bit, it should talk about, yep, there it is right there, the open JDK. So you can use that version if you like. All right, so for us, I do want to go ahead and use this to make sure that we're staying consistent. And then I'm going to scroll down a little bit. And then you can see right there is the Mac installer. And then here's the Windows 64-bit installer. So you want to use the 64-bit installer, that one right there. So you come over here to the right-hand side and then click on this link there. And then we review the software. You can see the license agreements here. You review it, put a check mark in there, and then you download. If you are using Chrome, the download will appear here on the left-hand side. If you're using Firefox, you'll see a blue arrow at the top right-hand corner, and that's where it's downloading. So click that blue arrow, and once it finishes downloading. And you can see, depending upon your connection, it could be very fast. It could take a while. And if you have a slow connection, go grab yourself a soda or take a little break and then come back and it should be finished. All right, so once that finishes, then we can go ahead and close this. And then again, if you're using Firefox, hit the blue arrow and then click on the file. If you're using Chrome, just go ahead and click on the file right here. You'll get a window popping open asking for administrator permission. Once you get that, you can go ahead and click yes. And then this window right here comes up. And I'm going to go ahead and close this one. I'm going to minimize this one so to keep us focused right on this. So now you hit next. And then the path, just look at where the path is taking place, where it's going. And then I'm going to hit next. When you get to this page right here, it says it was successfully installed. So you hit close. Now the next thing that we need to do is set the environment variable. So come down here to where it says click here to search and then type environment. And you can see it already came up for me. If it doesn't come up for you, then go ahead and just type variables like that. Type the whole thing out if you have to. But as soon as it comes up, you can go ahead and just click on it. And then that opens up this window. And then you'll see environment variables right there. So you click on environment variables. Then you go to your path statement. So select the path statement right there. And then hit edit. All right. Once you have that edit set up, you want to hit new here. And then we're going to put in the path to our JDK. Now, what is the path to the JDK? Well, on that one screen that it told you where it was going to install it, that's the path. So you want to open up your File Explorer right down here. I'm going to click on File Explorer. And then you want to hit this PC. You want to go to your C drive. So click on this PC on the left-hand side. Go to the C drive and double-click on it. Then go to Program Files. So Program Files, double click on it. Then you will see Java right there. Double click on your Java. And then that is the version of Java that's installed on your computer now. Go ahead and double click on it. And the bin is where the executable is located. So you double click on the bin. And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll actually see your Java right there. So you can see there's java.exe. So we need to get the path to this file into our system variables. So I'm going to come up here to the top. I'm going to go to the far right side right there. I'm going to click at the far right side, the blank area right there. So that right there is the address where I'm located. So I'm going to grab the entire address, and it should look something very similar to this. This number right here may change depending upon time, because they keep updating it. So I'm going to grab this whole thing, this line right here. I'm going to select it from the C colon all the way to the bin. Then I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to hit copy, copy. Then I can close the screen, and then I come over here to my environment variables. I hit new, I right click on it, and then I hit paste, paste. So that address to the Java executable is in here now. So then I hit my enter key to lock it in, and you can see it's now part of my environment variables. I hit the OK button down here, and then I hit the OK button again, and then I hit the OK button again. Now let's test it and make sure you did it correctly. So come down here to your search window and then type CMD, CMD, and you'll see command prompt opens up. So I hit my enter key to open up my command prompt. So once you have that open, just type in Java spacebar -sign version, and there should be no spaces between the minus and the version. So Java spacebar -version. Hit your enter key, and you can see right there it shows the version for the Java. So that tells me that yay, everything is perfect. The Windows environment can see this version of Java. Everything looks great. So now I'm going to type exit, exit, and Java's set, ready to go. So that is step number 1. So this one is done. So now we want to install NetBeans. For NetBeans, I'm going to grab this address, and again, I could Google it. I'm going to grab this address. I'm going to do a Control-C to copy. I'm going to flip over here. I'm going to open up the browser tab. I'm going to put in that address, and then I'm going to hit my enter key. That takes me to this page right here. So then what you want is you want to just go ahead and get the latest version. So do not get the daily builds. Those have bugs in them. So make sure you go ahead and just get the version that you see right here. So you'll see download right there. Click on download. That takes you to this page right here. Now on this page you have binaries, you have source code, you want installers. So look for the installers. And you can see right there is Windows. There's also a Linux installer. And if you have a Macintosh, guess what? There's the Macintosh installer. Okay, so we're going to do Windows. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Windows right there. So again, make sure your installers, make sure you see the Windows installer, and then click on it. When you click on it, it will take you to this page right here. This is the suggested site, but you can use any of the mirrors here, no problem. I'm going to go ahead and just use the suggested site just for load balancing for Apache software. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and then it starts to download. And you can see it's downloading here. And this is going to take a good 4 or 5 minutes, and I have a fiber optic connection, and it's still going to take me a few minutes. So for you, if you are on a slower connection, it may take a little while. So again, if you have a slow connection, go get some water, take a little walk, whatever you like, and then just come back in a few minutes, and then it should be ready to go. All right, I'm going to pause my recorder, and I'll be right back as soon as it finishes downloading. All right, when it finishes downloading, you have to wait until it finishes completely. So you have to wait till that blue circle goes away. So if that blue circle is still there, that means it has not finished downloading. So just go ahead and just wait a little bit longer. So once that blue circle goes away, then this is the installer. And again, if you're using Firefox, you're going to have a blue arrow at the top right-hand corner. You want to click on that blue arrow, and then you should see the file. So you want to click on the installer, and that opens it up. It takes just a few seconds for it to open up, so have a little bit of patience here. All right, it's going to ask for administrative permission. Go ahead and hit yes. I'm going to close this one. I'm going to minimize this one. And it says welcome. So we're going to say next. And then you want to read the license agreement and then accept. Hit next. And then you can see it found the JDK because we installed it and we set up the environment variable. And then it said it's going to put the Apache NetBeans right there. That's perfect. We don't need to change anything there. I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And then it says, do you want me to also check for updates? Yes. So I'm going to hit install. And then now it's installing. And this is a fairly large program, so it takes a little while to install. So I'm going to pause the recorder and I will unpause if anything interesting happens. All right, nothing interesting. Instead of just finish on this screen right here, installation completed successfully, yay. So I'm going to hit finish. And you can see it put a launch icon right here. So now I want to double click on it. I want to test it, make sure it works. So I'm going to double click on the icon. And this is the installer, so I don't need that anymore, so I'm going to delete that. Your installer is probably in your downloads folder, so you can go to your downloads folder and delete the JDK installer and also the Apache installer. All right, so this popped open. So I'm going to hit new project right here. Make sure you select Java with Ant. Click on Java application, hit next, and then give it a name. So this is going to be week 1, and then we're going to say hello world. If you're doing a console application, you want the main method to be created for you. If you're creating a GUI application, which we will do in week 2, then you do not want the main method created for you because the GUI file has a main method built into it. We are doing a console application to run the test, so put a check mark right there. And you can change the name, you can also change the package, the whole works, and I'm just going to leave it just like it is. I'm going to hit finish. It says project folder already exists, so I'm going to change this, and let's see, let's go ahead and just do number 2 right there. All right, so I'm going to hit finish. How about number 3? I'm going to hit finish. All right. How about number 4? You know what? I'm going to put number 44. All right. Okay, now that's not good because the chance of me having already used that is very slim. All right, so users, documents, NetBeans projects. I'm going to open that up. So I'm going to open up File Explorer. I'm going to go to Documents, and then I'm going to go down to NetBeans right there. I'm going to open that up. And there is a 44 right there. That's very interesting. So I think something is going wrong here. Let me try 45. All right, then I'm going to hit finish. Project folder already exists and is not empty. That's not good. So I'm going to hit cancel. So something's going wrong here. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. And then I'm going to reopen NetBeans. All right, I'm going to create a new project. Java Ant, Java application. I'm going to hit next. And then let's see, it's calling it Java. I'm going to change it to week 1. Hello world 50, like that. Create the main class. That's good. And let's see, project folder, hello world 50. All right, so I'm gonna hit finish. Okay, so if I'm getting this error like this, then you want to Google to find out what's happening. So I'm going to open this up, and then I'm going to say NetBeans project already exists, and is not, let's see, so then you just right click and hit open a new tab, and I can right click, I can open a new tab, and then project creation issue source. This one actually sounds the most hopeful to me, so I'm going to right click on this, I'm going to open a new tab, I'm going to go to that one, and then okay, so that did not help me. So at this point, I'm going to research a little bit and figure out what the error is, because I should not be getting that error because I'm changing the name and everything should be working. So I'm going to research a little bit and be right back. All right, I found this page here, and it says that there's a 99% chance it's caused by my antivirus application. There are so many viruses out there, you have to have antivirus, so no matter what. So with this right here, it says Open Bitdefender. Look at the protection tab. So I'm going to click down here on this little arrow, and then there's my Bitdefender. So I'm going to right click on it, and then I'm going to hit show. So it brings up Bitdefender. Then it says click on the protection tab. So right there's protection. So I'm going to click on that. And then it says view features. And let's see. Either disable save files or allow access for NetBeans. And Bitdefender is blocking applications to access files in C drive. So that's probably why it worked. All right, so with this right here, I'm going to take a look around. I'll be right back. All right, so on that same page, it said to click on Save Files, and there's Application Access. So I'm going to click here, and then you can see there's NetBeans, and then here I'm going to turn it on. So that's going to allow NetBeans to work with my virus scanner. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and close this. So I went ahead and left this as part of the recording because I want you all to see that if you do have any issues, guess what? Google is your friend. So go ahead and Google, because as software developers, we're on Google a lot. So if you have any issues come up, just Google. And what you want to do is you want to type in the exact error that you're getting. So you want to type in NetBeans and then the exact error that you're getting. Because if you're getting that error, then that means that other people will also be getting the error as well. So you want to make sure that you use Google if you do have any issues. And you can see I went through a few different pages to find my resolution. But guess what? I found the resolution, no problem. All right. So now I'm going to try that again. So I'm going to hit cancel. I'm going to click for a new project, Java with Ant, Java application. I'm going to hit next, and then I'm going to call this week 1, hello world, and I'm going to use 5, like that, hello world 5, and then I'm going to hit finish. Yay, I love Google, and I love the nice people who are willing to post solutions on Google or on their blogs to help everybody else out. Okay, so now everything has to be inside of the main method to run. So you need to put the code inside of the main method to run. Now, once we do methods, we can call methods from that we set up down here, we can call it from here. But for right now, we're just testing the environment. So, and you can see why I am doing this. So testing the environment. So now I'm going to say system dot out. And now when you use the IntelliSense, do not finish typing. As soon as it gets selected, just hit the enter key. And the reason why is because a lot of people will mess up on the capitalization. And if instead you use the IntelliSense and let NetBeans finish it for you, then the capitalization will be correct. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that one right there. Actually, I want to put a string in there, so I'm going to use this one. And now I'm going to say quote. I'm going to say hello, everyone, like that. Okay. So now to run it, I hit the run button, which is that icon right there. It compiles it and then executes. All right, and then you can see right here, it blocked it again. So I'm going to go ahead and come down here. I'm going to hit view details, and then it says open JDK platform binary. So with this right here, I'm going to allow that to run. So I'm going to put a check mark right in there. All right. And you probably will not have this error, but I'm showing you this anyway because you may have a different type of error. And if you are installing the software on your personal computer, you have to be okay with solving issues like this. No big deal. All right. So I turned that and made that acceptable. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. And now I'm going to close this. All right. Now I'm going to run it again. And you can see right there on my output window, hello everyone. All right, so that means, yay, it works now. So at this point, I can create as many applications as I want, no problem. All right, so we just tested our installation and it tests out perfectly. So now I'm going to close this. And then the final thing that we want is our SQL database server. So I'm going to grab this link right here. I'm going to do a Control-C to copy. I'm going to open up my browser, and then I'm going to paste. And then I want everybody to notice that I'm telling you a few things that you want to make sure that you want to include. Now the password, you don't have to put DeVry123. You can use whatever password you want, but at the same time, all the instructions, everything is based on the DeVry123, so you might want to consider it. But again, if you do use a different password, make sure you remember your password and use that password when you're doing the applications in week 6. All right. So now I'm going to minimize, and then you can see right here, MySQL community server and the operating system. And you can see here is the operating system, and there's Mac. So if you're using a Macintosh, there it is. Okay. So we're doing Windows, so I'm going to hit Windows. And then right here is a MySQL installer. Perfect. So I'm going to go down here to, let's see, other downloads. Nope, I want this one right here. I'm going to click on Go to Downloads page right there. All right, so I'm going to click on that one. And then this right here is the 32-bit. I don't want the 32-bit. Let me see. So I don't want that one, so I'm going to hit my the back button. And then so right here, and I should have, and actually this right here says 32-bit and 64-bit installer. All right, and then this one right here says Windows 64-bit right there. x86 means 32-bit, but this is a zip, so I definitely don't want that. So this right here does say 32-bit and 64-bit. So I think the installer is 32-bit, but it's going to install 64-bit for me, and that's what I want. So that's good. All right, so I'm going to do that again. I'm going to click over here on Go to Downloads page. And then this is the 32-bit installer. And let's see. You'll notice that this one is only 24 megabytes. So that right there is going to be it's going to pull down the very minimum, and then it's going to download everything else. So instead, I want this one right here. This one's going to download everything and not rely on my connection during the installation process. So this is the one that I'm going to use, and that's the big one right there. All right, so 427 megabytes. So I'm going to click on download right here. And then it says you can log in, you can sign up, or you can just click right here where it says no thanks, just start my download. And that's the one I'm going to use. No thanks, just start my download. So I'm going to click there, and it is starting to download. So even with my fiber optic connection to the internet, it's going to take some time. Ooh, as I say that, I'm seeing it's only going to take a few seconds. So if you don't have a good connection to the internet, again, go take a break. All right, go grab some water, take a little short walk, something like that, and then come back later once it's finished installing. All right, or once it finishes downloading. All right, and with Chrome, it's at the bottom left-hand corner. With Firefox, it's at the top right-hand corner. You'll see a blue arrow. All right. It's only a few more seconds, so I think I'm going to hang out. And it is almost done. Again, the blue line has to disappear, has to go away completely. And once it goes away completely, if you still have a blue circle around it, it's not done downloading. So do not click on it until it finishes, until the blue line goes away. So once it finishes, go ahead and click on the file. All right, I got a window pop open asking me for administrative permission to install it, and I clicked on yes. So now I'm going to close this window here. I'm going to minimize this one. All right, I got another window asking me for administrative permission to install it, and I hit yes. All right, so right here, I'm going to select this one right here. And let's see. And this is saying, do you want a hook for Visual Studio to also be installed? Sure. And let's see. Actually, you know what? It says that it bound it already on my computer. That makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and just upgrade it. All right, no big deal. And let's see. I'm going to remove it. So I clicked on remove, and then I'm going to let it put in the newest one. So I'm going to select both of these two things, the product, which is MySQL, and then also the MySQL for Visual Studio. So I had to hit remove on the other one. So let's see, status product. All right, so I'm going to hit next, and then I'm going to hit execute. So it's pulling out my old version of the MSQL, the MySQL for Visual Studio. Let's do a retry on that. All right, so I'm going to hit finish. I'm going to hit that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this and double click on MySQL installer again. All right, it gave me the same page. So I'm going to hit add, and there we go. So by hitting add, now it says, what do you want installed? So I'm going to hit the plus sign, and I want MySQL Server. So yes, I definitely want that. And then I'm going to hit over to the, I'm going to go here. There we go. Okay, so MySQL Server, I definitely want that. So now I'm going to open this up. And then this says, what do you want? So I definitely want the workbench. So I'm going to open that up. There you go. I'm going to hit next. And then anything else that you want, you can go ahead and like documentation, for example, that would be good. So the MySQL documentation, I'm going to put that over to the right-hand side. And then the samples, that'd be nice. So I'm going to put that over. And connectors. So there's a Java connector right there. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that on over. If you want, you can also get this ODBC, hits Microsoft Access and Microsoft Excel. .NET for C#, and Visual Basic, and then Python. Of course, you can, if you want those, you can just open those up and take them over to the right-hand side like that. So this on the right-hand side is what's going to be installed. All right. So I think that's about it. I think that should be good enough for us. The main important part is the server needs to be over here and the workbench needs to be over here. So make sure at the very minimum, those two are over on the right-hand side. So once you have that set, just hit next. And then it says selected path already exists. And that's because I uninstalled to show you all how this works. All right, so now I'm going to hit next. And then I'm going to hit execute. All right, I'm going to pause the recording. I'll come back when something interesting happens. All right, so once you get a green check mark and everything, just hit next. And then this is a configuration wizard. We're going to hit next. We use a standalone, so I'm going to hit next. And then it says with support, so make sure the port is 3306, which is the default. All right, so that's the default. All right, I'm going to pull this over to make sure we get everything. All right, and then the rest of it looks good. Hit next. And with this right here, we're going to use legacy authentication. And I know this is not the best way. The best way is strong password encryption. You can see it's recommended. But let's keep this as easy as possible to make sure that your labs work. All right, that's the critical part. So go ahead and put a check mark on use legacy authentication method and then hit next. All right, so it says, what is the root password? And right here, I'm going to go ahead and just type in DeVry123. So you can see it here, typing in DeVry123. I'm going to hit check. And this is saying what is the current. So that's because I have installed it already and I uninstalled it to do this walkthrough. So for you, it's going to ask for a password. And then I recommend that you use DeVry123. Otherwise, make sure you put a password in there that you will remember. All right, so a green check mark right there says it's correct. So I'm going to hit next. And then configure as a service, yes. And then start MySQL Server at system startup. And I do strongly recommend that you do that. You can see that is one of the notes I made. So please make sure there's a check mark right there. And then standard system account, that's perfect. Now hit next. And it says it's going to do these things. So hit execute. And it's doing one at a time. And then we hit finish. All right, so now at this point, we're going to hit next. And it says, what is the password? And I'm typing in devry123. I'm going to click on check, and that worked. So I'm going to hit next, and then I'm going to hit execute. And yours may go a little bit differently than mine. So just read what's on the screen and then just follow the instructions. All right, just click and follow the instructions that are on the screen. All right, so this is good. So now I'm going to hit finish. And configuration is complete. I'm going to hit next. And then start MySQL Workbench after the setup. I'm going to leave a check mark on there because, again, I want to test everything, right? So I'm going to hit finish. And I don't need these notes anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and close this. All right, and MySQL Workbench opened up. All right, so with this right here, this is the original instance that I created, and then this one right here is the one that we just did. So I wanted to click on the one that we just created right here. So I'm going to click on that one. It says, what is the password? I'm going to go ahead and type in the devry123. And if you want, you can put a check mark in there to save it. I'm not going to just because of tutorials that I create. So I'm going to hit the OK button. And we are now in. Okay, so with this now being started, you can see that I've already created a database. So this is what I would recommend you all do. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to right click on this, and then I'm going to go ahead and drop the database so I can show you all how to do it. And I'm going to say drop now, and that database is now gone. Now you notice that MySQL calls databases schemas. So if you see schema, if you see database, just know that they're synonymous for each other. All right. So in MySQL, it's schema, but everybody's going to say database. All right. So to create a new database, you come up here to this icon right there. So you want to click on that icon right there. So you can see it, add a database. So you click on that. Then it says, what should the name of the database be? So let's go ahead and call it CIS355A, like that. And it needs to be all lowercase. So we're going to go ahead and leave it all in lowercase like this. And then we're going to hit the enter key. And then I'm going to come down here, I'm going to hit apply, apply. All right, so it says this is the SQL code that's going to get executed. So it actually does it all with SQL code. Isn't that cool? So we're going to hit apply, and it runs it, and it says it was successful. So we're going to hit finish. And now you can see our CIS355A database has been created. So the little triangles is how you open things up. So you click on that triangle, and you can see right there are your tables. So you can click here on tables, and you can right click it, and you can see right there it says create a table. All right, create table. So I'm going to click on that, and then you can create the table whatever you want. So for example, if I say customers, so that's going to be my customers table, and then down here is your columns. All right, so the first column that I want, I'm going to double click it, and then I'm going to say cust ID. So this is the primary key, and it's going to be an integer data type. And then right there is primary key. So I'm going to put a check mark in primary key. And the primary key cannot be null. So NN is not null. And if you don't remember what these are, just look right down here. So you can see primary key, not null. Now, MySQL has a bug, and that is if you want to do the auto increment down here, it won't let you click it. You have to do the auto increment up here. So I'm going to put a check mark there on auto increment, and that did check it down here, but that's a bug. You can't do it down here. You should be able to, but hopefully they'll fix that bug. So just remember, to do the auto increment, you want to do it right up here. Okay, so then I'm going to come over here to my next column, and then for my next column, it's going to be, let's go first name, and actually I do want, and that's going to be a variable number of characters. So varchar is a variable number of characters, and we're going to say 30 characters. All right, and it's okay if it's null, so I'm going to leave that alone. Now, customer ID, that first letter really should be capitalized, so I'm going to go ahead and capitalize that first letter. All right, so now I'm going to do last name, and then I'm going to do phone number, like that. All right, so the last name, I don't think I need 45 character width. Instead, let's do 30 on that one. That's a pretty long last name. And then a phone number, probably 15 would probably be plenty of room for us for a phone number. And then that's it. That's all I want. So this one right here, I don't want this one, so I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to delete the selected. There we go. So these are the only items that I want right there. So that's perfect. So now at this point, I can hit apply right down here. And it's saying the server is configured with lowercase table name. So the default is that the table name has to be lowercase. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And then I'm going to hit, let's see, create, and you can see it changed that to lowercase right there. Okay, so the table name was changed automatically to lowercase because that's the default. So I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. So this is going to create a table in the CIS355A database, and it's going to be called customers. And then the fields will be these fields here. The customer ID is going to be an integer, so it's going to be a whole number. It cannot be null, and it's going to auto increment. So every time I add another customer, it's going to automatically increase it by 1. The first name, last name, and phone numbers are all in there, and this is how big they are. And they're allowed to be null. And then the primary key is going to be set to customer ID. So at that point, I'm going to hit apply, and then I'm going to hit finish. And then if you come over here and hit that little triangle, you can see that there's a customers table. If you open that up, then you can see that your columns are listed here. I'm going to hit the triangle there, and there are my columns. All right, so there, everything's perfect. Everything's absolutely fantastic. Okay, all right, I'm going to go ahead and close this, and then I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to go over to our website, and then right there is a MySQL tutorial. I do recommend that you go through this just to plant the seed in your brain so that your brain can start processing MySQL. So when we hit it in week 6, you'll be very comfortable with it. All right, so at this point, we have everything set up, ready to do all of our labs, and we're also set up for week 6 and week 7 when we do our database work using Java as the front end to hit a database as the back end.